anybody tell me what's going on with Colleen Hoover and why she deactivated her Instagram account? I know that there's a whole lawsuit going on with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. I only realized this because I tried to tag her in one of my reviews, but I couldn't find it. But anyways, as you can see, I read the Spanish version of the book. My feelings for this book went from one end to the spectrum to another. The first chapters of the book felt like the cliche romance meeting the bad boy, and then it gets very heated. It kind of felt like fan fiction. I was like, this is going to be a long read. However, I stuck to it and I listened to the audiobook while I read along. And before I knew it, I was reading a ton of pages of this book. I feel that this book really captures what it's like, what happens to a person when when they are in an abusive or violent relationship. Like Lily, there are a ton of women who say, I would never allow something like this to happen to me. Or they might have had someone very close to them, their parents, a friend, anyone who went through this, and they might even feel resentment towards them, wondering how could they allow this to happen to them. And I know this feeling all too well because this is something that I in my very younger years witnessed, whether that was through my mother who went through physical violence and a friend. But with my friend, I just kept wondering how could she let this happen to herself. And it's not until it happened to me that I was like, how did I end up here? How did this happen to me? How did I even I feel that what happens to a lot of women is that when you encounter yourself in these situations, the first time you are in so much shock that you try to negotiate with it because it you're in shock and you think maybe he was just having a bad day. This is not who he is. He has never acted like this towards me ever. And then again it happens. And then when it happens a third time, you're between shock but also shame that you would have even allowed this a second or a third time. And it turns into this vicious cycle. I read a lot of reviews recently and 2 years ago on women calling to cancel this book because it romanticizes violence or abuse in a relationship. I feel that this is because Ryle displays deep regret where you actually both Lily and both as the reader causes you to have these conflicting feelings where you want to believe them but you know that you should not. However, I think that that's something very important for the book to capture. I think that confusion should be there. I think it's part of the point. When we are in these situations, we feel confused, we feel conflicted. Ultimately, as it happens at the end of this book, we have to open our eyes, especially where children are involved, because a lot of times you don't want to leave a situation, and when you think it's not going to happen again, you tell yourself, but I don't want to leave my child without a united marriage or union, and you see them very regretful and you want to believe and you stay. The epilogue to me, I don't know who here read it, but if you have not read this book and if you do read this book, I do recommend that you read the epilogue. At least for me, I felt more touched by the epilogue than the last 2 pages of the book. I was deeply touched because I could relate in a sense. I could relate to what she was saying. Also, I just really wanted to say, very important, if you have a family member, anyone that you know, a friend who is going through or domestic violence, please be patient with them. Please support them. Please be there for them. I know that some people may have different mechanisms in dealing with the situation with their loved ones. I know that some people cut their family members off who are going through things like that because they won't listen, but that really isolates them much more. Please be patient. Please be there for them. Because as frustrating as it might sound to you that they won't just leave, it's a cycle. It's a very vicious cycle, and it's not It's not an easy cycle to get out of. Please, please, please support your loved ones. I give this book a 5 out of 5. And if you think otherwise, let me know in the comments what you think or what you thought of the book, what you rated the book.